Hello, everybody. We're going to be starting the webinar very soon. I see we have an international audience today. That's really cool. We got some from Slovakia. We've got people from Guatemala. We got people from Miami. We got people from Colorado. We have this one person. I have no idea who they are. We have tons of people coming in. So listen, let me say hello to you guys. I'm wearing my Rotary t-shirt, my Venezuelan flag right here behind me. And here I am in Miami, ready to start another interesting and fun presentation. Okay, I'm going to turn off this webcam. You don't need to look at an ugly guy like me. So let me, whoop, it didn't go off. Hang on. There, now it went off. Okay, great. So we're talking about jump starting your business after this COVID-19 crisis. All good things come to an end, and so do bad things come to an end. So eventually, this crisis will move its own happy way. Uh, for those of you who don't know me, um, I'm Robert Bull, and here I am with my Venezuelan flag that you saw a moment ago right behind me. I am from Venezuela, and I consider myself to be an international executive. I worked in these three multinational companies. But after that, I started what I would call an international training development company. And here I am signing an agreement with Mr. Ruben Recupero, who's the Secretary General of UNTAG, which was a United Nations organization based in Geneva. And basically, we're signing an agreement whereby the entity that I'd created here in Miami, which is a not-for-profit to work with companies, especially small companies and medium-sized companies, what they call SME, small and medium corporations, to work with them in this beginning of the transition towards a global economy. Talking about 20 years ago when globalization was just starting, if you wish. Then what I started doing, with this organization, we set an agreement with CEPIME. CEPIME is a secretaría, which would be the secretary of PYMES. PYMES is Pequeña y Mediana Empresas, and in French it would be Petite et Moyenne Enterprise. And as we know, in English, it would be small and medium enterprises. Locally in Miami, here I am with my wife. I am president-elect of the Rotary Club of Miami. Right now, I'm responsible for community service, and there's my wife planting trees. We planted over 100 trees a couple of weeks ago at Zoo Miami. It was one of our community service projects. We do different kinds of things. But enough about that. Let's first start off with a little review that I think is important when we consider what we're going to be covering as we go forward in today's meeting. And what I talked about yesterday was the purchase decision. And I asked you guys to remember this beautiful Brazilian girlfriend that I had. Actually, don't say this to Stephanie because she would get very upset, a friend. She wasn't really a girlfriend anyway. Starts with A. Attention, hello. That's what we need to do. We need to get the customers' attention, their awareness. And then we got to get their interest. We got to tell them what we're doing, and we have to see if what we're offering is of interest to them. And if it's of interest to them, hopefully they're going to have desire. They're going to want this product or this service, whatever the case may be. And at the end, our goal is action. We want our consumer, our target consumer, to buy our product. So if everybody will remember our free friend AIDA, okay, AIDA, A-I-D-A, attention, interest, desire, and action. That is one of the key things that we need to do, whether it's for a product, a service, our company, whatever. We need to let people know we exist. If they don't know we exist, we don't exist. We're dead. Now, I was talking to you also from a more professional perspective, although I like the concept of AIDA. We need to create awareness of our product, our service, whatever we're offering, be it if we're selling cookies, if we're selling beer, or if we're selling a service, okay? And people will then get a perception, they'll get a feeling. It doesn't necessarily mean that they'll agree to what we're trying to say, but it's what they think. It's almost reputation. A company's reputation is not always what the company's trying to communicate. In fact, it may not have anything to do with the truth, with reality, but that's a different problem. So when a consumer creates awareness and has perceptions of the company or the product or the service, he's going to be able to determine if they desire that product. And if they have a positive attitude, boom, behavior. They're going to buy, they're going to adopt, they're going to commit, they're going to make some kind of decision. Or the decision, if it's what the wrong way is, not interested. Okay? Well, when I talked about perceptions, to me, the word image, perception, and reality are very important for us to look at. When we have a service that we're trying to promote, or a product we're trying to promote, or whatever the case may be, whatever we're trying to communicate and get out there, we want to establish an image. We want people to think a certain way we're doing. Right now, with this problem in Miami and across the United States, all of the hairdressers, nail salons are all closed down. And the other day, I was on a Zoom meeting, and the ladies were saying, no, 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 we don't want to have Zoom because I haven't done my hair, my gray is showing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Frankly, I need a haircut really bad too. So the image that we want to project as individuals, or that we want our company or our service or our product to project, that's the image that we want people to see. So we're going to call that in this circle. This is what we want it to be. You can fill in the blanks whatever we want. We can say, oh, we want an image that we're very debonair, we're very wealthy, we're chicy, we're really cool. Or guess what? No, we want an image that we're the cheapest company in the world. You want something really cheap? You can't get much cheaper than me. Hey, you want cheap produce? Go to Aldi. Ever heard of Aldi? They're down the road here in US 1. Wow, that's really cheap. But if you want really good product, where are you going to go? More expensive products. You can buy the exact same avocado in Aldi as you can in Whole Foods, and people are going to pay more because Whole Foods has an image that they want to project as very wholesome, organic food. So you're willing to pay a premium. Then we got to get into the word perception. Perception is what's in your client's mind and what's in the mind of people in general who even are aware of your product. What do they think? Hopefully, what they believe our product or service is what we're trying to project. And by project, we're talking about the image we want to project. We want these two things, hopefully, to be very similar. But in this specific case that I'm showing here, as you notice, there's only a little bit of overlap. So people think one thing, we want them to think something else. There's a little bit of overlapping. Now, whenever there's a story, and there's two sides to a story, and let's just say what's going on right now in the fight in Congress or the whole issue, even with this whole COVID-19. You had some people saying we're over exaggerating, blah, blah, blah. We should be back at work. And you have other people saying, oh no, you shall be locked up in our house. Well, whenever there's two sides of a story, sometimes there's another side, which we're going to call reality. What is the truth? Now, the truth is very objective. It's very clear, but does the consumer have the perception that matches the reality? What we're projecting doesn't match reality. Let's say we have a product that isn't very good, but we want to say, hey, we've got the best tasting, cheapest product out there. And it turns out our product isn't very good, but we may try to project one thing. So I'm trying to explain that difference. I move this away for the following reason. Let's forget a moment for this whole thing of reality. Let's take reality out of the picture altogether. It doesn't matter. Okay, why doesn't it matter? Because what is reality to the consumer is what the consumer believes. You're a customer, it doesn't matter what the truth is what the customer believes. What we want is for the person's perception to mirror our image. In other words, our image is what we want to project. We want people to have a perception, have a belief, think that what they believe of our product or service is what we want to project, the image we want to show. That's always something we need to be measuring all the time, because the worst thing we'd want is to have a perception that's all the way over here, okay? People think about our product or service has nothing to do with the image. And the fact of the matter is, reality is not important because whatever you believe, that's what you believe. For me to convert you to believe what I want you to believe, which is the image, is going to take a tremendous amount of money and effort. So that's why we always have to measure these two things as we're going. And we have to do our best to ensure that the image we project about our product, our service, our store, our company, ourselves is what we hope people will have the perception about that. So, having talked about perceptions, I want to move forward to another little topic that I used to always love to do. And you can do it by yourself on your own products, your own service. It's not a big deal to do, but you can go ahead and figure that one out in just a second. So let me go back here to this thing. Okay, so we have the image, perception. Obviously we want the two to overlap. We're going to talk now about something I'm going to call a perceptual map. And whatever you want to do, you got to figure out what are the most important attributes that are important to your customer, your clients, for the product or service you're promoting. Okay? And you can ask people on a scale of 1 to 10, and that's why I have the 1 and 10 here, and the 10 and 1 down here. I'm sorry. In fact, no, I'm not going to correct it because you'll see what's behind here. So let's please imagine this being a 1, okay, 1 to 10 up there, all right? So let's talk about something that I happen to enjoy sometimes. In fact, I just joined a beer fellowship. There's a Rotary Beer Fellowship. So let's say that some brands are good for young adults. Young adults want that. I don't mean children, people over the age of 21, and others, guys who like to sit around, with a big belly, watching TV. Okay. And then you got very expensive, which supposedly is better quality. And then you got the value products. Okay. So when we go out there and ask people, this product, is it for young adults? Is it better quality? What is it? So I decided to just invent a perceptual map. And I said to myself, okay, Stella Artois, it's an expensive product and young people like it. So that's their feeling. The young people say, this is for me. I'm young, I'm hip, I'm with it. It's expensive, good, I can afford it. That's really cool. On the other hand, we got a value product that young adults also like. They're in college, whatever, they like to buy these off brands. It's unique. It's called Blue Moon. Okay, you go for it. Then we got Bud Light. Bud Light is not expensive, it's not very cheap, it's not for seniors. Maybe some younger kids without money will like it. It's in between. And over here we got Corona. Well, Corona, it's expensive, but it's not as young as it used to be because Corona's been around for a while. So you tend to have a lot more younger adults who want to, who just want to look at it and see what they're doing. Okay. And then over here we got Miller. Okay, Miller is a little bit older, SKU. It's young, it's value. And what does that mean? If it's that system that's an older brand for older people, and the people in general think, well, that's what old people use. Well, guess what? You're not going to have a lot of young people using it. And over here we've got Heineken, which is for guys who've been around for a while. It's expensive, more expensive than Corona, but it's a little bit more adult than Corona. And then finally, we have another product that I'm going to call Pabst, PBT, I think it is, and Pabst Blue Ribbon. Well, that's a very cheap beer right now. And who tends to use it? I'm just inventing. Believe I haven't done any research. I'm just giving you an example, okay? It's the guy sitting with his pants open and watching a game, beer belly sticking out, and he's saying, "Hey, So bring me a beer, okay? But we're able to put a perception. Now, the important thing to try and figure out on your product or your service is which are the perceptions that are more important. You can do all different kinds of perceptions, but the key thing is to find out where do you want to position your product based on the perception that you want people to have, which really is the image you want to project. So if you remember, those of you who participated yesterday, if you didn't, that's cool too. There was a lady who he called me up and she said, listen, I want to make some chocolate chip cookies. I think that's going to be really good. And this is what I'm going to try and do. And I'm going to be out there. So, okay, fine. Well, if you're going to make chocolate chip cookies, you're competing against other people who make chocolate chip cookies. So I looked at two different areas in a perceptual map. It could be whatever you wish, okay? I used one meaning packaged, meaning that the product's made far away, it's put in a box and it's shipped to you. And then the other extreme, something that's really close and fresh and more, if you wish, more organic, okay? Better for you. And one is premium, one is value. So I said, okay, Famous Amos. It's not that cheap, it's in the middle, but it definitely is put in a box. I don't know where it's made, who doesn't really matter. Then we got over here Keebler's. Well, that goes in a little thing. That's even cheaper. It's also made somewhere and shipped to us. And then we got our famous Oreo cookies. Okay, Oreo cookies, they're really cool. They're great. They have a big market share. You buy them in a supermarket, but where are they made? When were they made? And then there's this other brand, Pepperidge Farm. They come in these soft little packages. And by the way, they even call it soft baked because it's a little bit different than an Oreo. Oreo is crunchy. Okay, it's a little bit better baked. These are softer, but it's a little bit more premium. And then we have one that they really are going all the way out. They're saying, we're grandma's cookies. That's really cool. So this lady, and I just invented a brand, I just did this right now before we even started today. She wants to have something that's very unique. She's basically saying, look, it's made here in Miami. It can't be any fresher. And as much as she can, it's going to be wholesome and organic. So that's why I put it there. And bing, 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 bing. She's going to call her things Gables Homemade Organic Fresh Chocolate Chips. She wants to charge a premium. And then the question is, do I really have a market out there who are willing to pay a premium for locally produced chocolate chip cookies that are fresh, they're organic, they're made right here, they haven't been shipped across the United States, here they are. Is that viable or not viable? I don't know. But the question you really have to look at is, who are you up against? If you're having this product that I just invented this thing, okay? I mean, she just asked me this question, but I just used her example. When you're doing that, you have to say, well, what am I up against? Well, I'm fighting against Keebler, who's really cheap. Am I in the same segment of the market? Well, in a way I am, but my consumers are different. Why are they different? Because I'm going after somebody who wants something fresh, who wants something just recently made, who wants something organic, who wants something more healthy, and they're a little bit more concerned about the benefit, while somebody else isn't. So these perceptions are very important. I'm not saying Keebler's is bad. Don't misunderstand me, because I don't even eat chocolate chip cookies. But the question really is, when you look at these perceptual maps, and you can do a whole series of them, it's important for you to have an idea what is in your consumer's minds, what is in your customer's minds. Do you need to spend a lot of money doing this? No, just go out and talk to people. Just don't talk to your close friends and family, because they're not going to tell you the truth. They're either going to want to make you happy, or won't make you happy, they'll be opinionated. Try and speak to people who are independent, okay? Now, once you have a brand out there, the goal that you're going to have in general is to have brand loyalty. We want brand loyalty, and it's defined as the degree of consumer attachment to the brand. I'm a Windows person, that's why I put Windows up there. But on the other hand, we've got the little Apple symbol, okay? My children, they're all adults, they're Apple people. My wife's an Apple person. The only thing Apple I have is my iPhone. but I can't use an Apple laptop or desktop. I just think I got to learn a new language. I'm not interested in it. Okay. So what does brand loyalty do and how does it work along? Well, the first step is people have to recognize. Recognize meaning they have to become aware of your name. Now, here we have very international brands, as we know, Pepsi, Coke, Apple, Windows. But if you're opening a small bakery, if you have a nail salon, it makes no difference. As all these stores are around and they have a name. If you're having a smaller business, and believe me, small businesses are the growth engine of this country. And if you look at what the government's just been putting out, the small business loans that they're having and help because of this COVID things, because that's where employment growth comes from. And that's where the new ideas come from. Okay. So if you're a small business, somehow among your target, meaning the people you really want to reach, they have to become aware of your name, of your packaging, and what benefits do you have when you go to that nail salon? What do they do? Today, I'd be most worried about cleanliness, hygiene, quality of the nail, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Then, once they become aware, they're going to have a preference. That's very useful because customers will buy the product if it's available. It's going to evoke a whole series, a whole set of feelings and perceptions about the product. And ultimately, people will have insistence. I found out, and I really don't practice this, but some people do Zumba. My wife and her friends, they like Zumba, many of their friends, and they follow some of the Zumba instructors. If the Zumba instructor goes from one gym to another, they'll follow them because they want to work with that person and they will insist to be with that person. That's a must have. Does that Zumba instructor have a brand? Yeah. It can be Willie or Tommy or Susie, whatever their name is, it doesn't matter. But people believe that's the best one, is whatever the case may be, and they will search for it. I'm taking a very simple case as compared to talking about Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, which is out of the realm of most of the people, or probably all the people who are watching this. But having a brand is an equity. It is very, very important. Brands have value. If you were to buy a store in Miami, let's just say, oh, how about Daily Bread? I don't know if you guys ever heard of Daily Bread. They've got two stores. They sell Middle Eastern foods. One's down, I think it's around 17th or Avenue and US 1. The other one's here in Pinecrest. The name of the store is Daily Bread. Does that name Daily Bread as a brand for Middle Eastern food and Middle Eastern bread, does that have value? Yeah, because you can make the same bread somewhere else, but you're not Daily Bread, the name of that store, the logo, etc. Here I have some brands that are very, that are known all over the world: Disney, Coca-Cola, Toyota, whatever. But also your local brands. How about Mango's downtown? Mango's restaurant belongs to, I don't remember who belongs to, some singer or whatever, but it doesn't matter, you know. So what is the equity? The equity meaning the value of your brand. What creates it? First of all, effective marketing strategies. How do you get out there and reach your person? It's also the status in the marketplace. Brands that people prefer, brands that people are willing to go pay for that service. You can go to different hair salons, there's different prices. You can go to different barbers, there's different prices. You can buy different anything. Same product, but it's different prices. Different beers that we just showed a while ago, different prices. And how is that brand positioned amongst consumers in the sense that how do consumers perceive that product, okay? Now, how do we build a brand? First, we have to identify the values that our brand's going to have. Some of our brands today, people are worried about ecology, the global warming, sea rise, all these things are some kind of a value. Do you tie to them or not? So that whole thing in your positioning strategy. When I talked about this lady with her chocolate chip cookies, she wants them to be soft and fresh. And so what's that? What she's trying to appeal to? She's trying to appeal to somebody who's thinking about whole foods and not the brand, but whole foods that are good foods. Okay. And then how are you going to plan and implement your marketing programs? What are you going to do? You don't have to have massive marketing spending today. if you're focused in a very tightly targeted area. What do I mean by that? Well, I'll never forget a couple years watching the Super Bowl, and I saw ads for Maserati, this really expensive Italian car. And I thought to myself, good gosh, those ads cost about $8, $9 million in the production of the commercial, this, that, the other. And I'm sure that 99% of the people watching the Super Bowl could never dream of affording a Maserati. So in my opinion, 99% of their spend was wasted. It would probably be better if you could identify them and go for them. So that question of identifying your target, who do you want? If you can identify your target, that'll help you implement your plan. Then you have to measure and evaluate your performance. It's a measure of looking at the perceptual maps that I spoke about, your sales, your volume, repeat purchases. How much does it cost you to gain a customer? These things are very important questions we have to ask. And finally, what is the brand loyalty and the brand equity? The brand equity is an interesting concept. We talked about it a moment ago. But from an accounting point of view, when you buy a company, okay, it could be a small company, whatever it is, somebody who prints, I don't know, printing banners, okay? You can look at the value of the assets of that company, the printing machines, etc. But will the person sell you the company for the value of the assets? No. They want a premium. Why? Because that company has value. It has clients who come in, it has loyalty, it has a brand. When you buy a company for more than the value of the materials on the book, which is called book value, all that incremental cost is called goodwill, which is really you're buying the brand, okay? You're buying the brand, you're buying the customer flow. That's the equity when you're able to build a business, build a brand. So going back, we talked about brand positioning, and over here I have a little chart which basically talks about high price and high speed, low speed, and consumers. You got Ferrari up there and other cars, BMW. It really doesn't matter which ones they are. But we really need to figure out when we're talking about a positioning, we need a strategy that clearly differentiates our brand from all competing brands. We talked about this 2 days ago. What is our unique selling point? It could be we're the cheapest on the block. Not exactly the smartest move to use, but some people do. Okay, and I say not exactly because you can be cheap and they'll become cheaper and cheaper, 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 and we all go broke. That's not the way we want to go. So we need to figure out how we're going to identify and first of all, define and identify what kind of positioning do we have relative to competition. Somehow we need to have that identification assigned to our product so consumers understand it. By assigned, I mean that's the image we want to project. The only way we know if we're successful, we go out there and talk to our clients and find out their perception about our brand or our product. And that's where the word analyze comes in. And we're able to, and we'll have our positioning. So the selling concept, basically we talked about brand positioning, it motivates the purchase. The image that marketers desire a brand to have in the minds of the consumers. So going back, the image is what I want to project. The perception is what is in the consumer's mind. I want these two things to be aligned. If they're aligned, I will have, hopefully, loyal consumers. So when we talked earlier about the target, we need to select our target. And here I'm just using a geography, okay? A simple little graph paper, and we say that's where our customers are. Our target can be anything. Anything in the sense we can say, we just want to work in Coral Gables. Okay, that's a geographic target. But what else? Well, I only want to speak to ladies. Fine, great. How old? And then you can go all the way down the list. What kind of income, what ethnic group they have, what desires, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I only want to speak to sports women. No, I only want to speak to women who are going to wear long earrings and do their nails here and there. Whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. We have to determine who is our target, because whoever is not our target, these are not people we necessarily want to reach. We may reach them because in this case we have a bullseye market. That's our target. There's going to be people beyond our target that we may reach somehow, okay? So that's going to give us an idea of our marketing mix. And we went over the product, price, and place promotion the other day, but we need to understand our strengths and weaknesses. And I'll get into that in another webinar that we'll have in a few days, okay? So we've got to communicate with our target, which I'm going over here. We need our branding. We have to determine how we're going to position ourselves relative to competition. How do we stack up relative to competition? What media are we going to use? A sign on the outside of the door, social media, we're going to go on the radio, we're going to go on TV, whatever the case may be. We have to select the media. How are we going to sell? What are the benefits that our product has? To get into the features, no, the benefit. What is the benefit to the consumer? So what we need to do, we need to see how we let our target know our positioning as we move forward. Okay, so what's our point? The key point we want to do with our marketing, developing our business, growing our business, we want to be efficient. We need to be efficient. We need to know where our target is. If we don't know where our target is, then we might as well get a shotgun and throw money all over Miami or all over Florida. If we know our target lives in Doral, because we're going to sell tequeños, does anybody know what tequeño is? Probably not. Cheese twist, okay? Typical in Venezuela. Why would I want to go to Doral? Because it's called Doralzuela. A lot of Venezuelans there. Why would I want to put a lot of marketing effort, I don't know, in Pinecrest or in Aventura? Maybe not. Definitely not in Alapatha. There aren't too many Venezuelans living there, okay? So that's my point. If we know where our target is, we can focus our marketing there. So what we want to do, we want to drive sales to make an objectives. We need to know what we're going to try and go. So let's go through this process one more time very quickly, okay? And what I say about that, we're going to go through these steps, what we want to be able to do. Number one, awareness. Okay, remember it's attention, awareness, hello. People have to know I exist. And the consumers will evaluate. And they're going to, once they evaluate and they hear everything we're saying, which is the information we want to give them, if they look at us on a positive perspective, they may buy our product, which is fine. That's great. They buy our product, they buy our service. But they're going to have some kind of an experience. Have you ever heard the term shopping experience? The experience somebody has. It's very commonly here. Oh, what kind of experience did you have at that place? Well, why is that? If I go to get my hair cut and I'm not treated nicely in there, even though I went through a process, I'll say I'm not going to go back. The experience you have buying a product, knowing how to complain, knowing how to give a compliment, knowing how to be rewarded or not rewarded, that feeling of, this was good for me, gives you the experience. What we really want to end up is with advocates. What are advocates? Advocates are loyal consumers who insist on our brand and who speak highly of our brand. There's a couple stores on A Street. One's called La Carreta, and just down the road, it's a restaurant. Just down the road is Versailles, okay? How many people, when they go into Versailles, they'll take pictures or they'll go on their Facebook page and they'll check in and say, I'm here in Versailles having a meal. You know, there's another store that I'm just thinking about it. There's an ice cream shop across from the movie theater on A Street called Azúcar. If you don't know it, you ought to go there. They make all kinds of fruit flavored ice creams. Their marketing budget, only social media. Because everybody goes there, say, I'm here at Azúcar, I'm eating a mango and aguacate ice cream. What? Mango and avocado, you crazy? Doesn't matter. They'll say whatever they want. But then by saying I'm here and this is what I'm doing, what are you telling your friends? You're telling your friends, I like this place. I validate this place. I validate this product, okay? There is no better marketing than what's called word of mouth. Today, word of mouth, to a certain degree, is out through Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, through that thing and the other one is just people talking. But when your friends tell you, I went to this place, it was great, they're advocating for that place, but they're giving you a seal of approval. I have this car. I love my Lexus. This car is so much better than any other car I've ever had. That's worth an awful lot. Okay. So we're about ready to wrap up, and it's something I wanted to talk about briefly. Right now, with the current situation in the country, with the country essentially stopped in many areas, and if the business isn't stopped, they definitely are not selling what they used to. I sent out an email blast, I can't remember, a couple days ago, and I basically forwarded an email that I received from the Small Business Development Corporation, which is this one right here in Florida. They have an office in FIU. And basically what they talked about were the resources information for small businesses, what's available for them that have been impacted by this COVID-19. There are different things that are available in that email I sent out. First of all, the Small Business Administration, they have a program called Small Business Disaster Assistance and COVID-19. Tomorrow in the morning, there's a webinar offered by I think it's by the Small Business Development Corporation. It was on the email blast that I sent out. You can register for it. They're going to be explaining the details, what you need to do and how to apply for this assistance. The assistance is up to $2 million, up to 3 years loan, which is quite good. The state of Florida has a program for small business. It is $50,000 up to $100,000, zero interest for a year. So that's maybe in $50,000 or $100,000 with no interest would be nice, and that could maybe bridge you over until your small business administration financing or availability loan is available. Okay, so these are things that for you who have a small business you can look at. One thing is important to note: when I went through the instructions, they asked people that you eventually will have to submit documentation. They're even asking people to submit their Schedule C on their tax returns. Those who have a DBA, meaning doing business as, it's just basically me, it's Robert Bull doing business as, I don't know, Bull Services, okay? I get a certificate from Florida. I can use that name, but it's not a corporation, it's a sole proprietorship. It's me. It's not a company, it's me doing business as some other name, okay? So some people, and I know some people in Rotary, I can think of one guy specifically, I won't mention his name. He has a DBA and everybody knows the name of his company, but guess what? It's really him, okay? So even if you are a small business and you work for yourself and you own your business and nobody else does, and you're not incorporated, you're not an LLC or nothing, on Schedule C, which your accountant does, that will tell you where your income expenses are. You can even use that document to get assistance, okay? So right now we've reached our half an hour, actually gone over. I said we'll be 35 minutes, we're 37 minutes. So I want to thank you for attending this webinar. Our next webinar will be this Friday, same time, same place, okay? A video of this webinar will be going out tomorrow. It's being recorded. And if you have any questions, please just send me an email. There's my email address there. And you can also contact me and look for me up on Facebook, or you can also go down to look at the Facebook site. By the way, if anybody would like to get a copy of the email that I sent out in regards to that Small Business Development Corporation and the webinar tomorrow and the other programs, if you didn't get the email up front, please send me an email. I'll be more than happy to forward you that email again, okay? So thank you very much for assisting this webinar. It's been a pleasure speaking with you guys, and I look forward to seeing you again. And we're right now, oh, before we go, let me wave goodbye. Before I forget, I gotta wave goodbye. Why not? Let's see if this thing comes on. There we are. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you. It's been a pleasure seeing you guys, okay? Take care. Bye. Bye-bye. We're out of here. Bye-bye. And this webinar for all. Take care. Bye. Bye-bye.